A special thank you to my Tier 2 patrons Rex Perry and Silent Storm 00, and all of my patrons so far. Hello friends, BigStupidGrin here. Thanks for putting up with me. I finally have the drive and inspiration to make videos again. None of the starter deck investigators really interested me, so here's skipping a set and looking at Innsmouth with the game's best spy, Trish Scarborough. Trish is Finn Edwards 2.0. She has 2 willpower, 4 intellect, 2 fight, and 4 evade. A rogue focused on investigating and evasion. She's not quite as min-maxy as Finn, losing a point of fight for a point of willpower. She has extra health and less sanity than Finn as well. Both are matters of taste. You can argue for or against either set of stats. Trish has an undisputedly big advantage over Finn in terms of deck building. Finn has a weird card pool. He can't take level 4 to 5 non-illicit rogue cards, which isn't many to be fair, but he only gets 5 slots for off-class cards. Trish has the traditional off-class rules of 0 to 2. Seeker 0 to 2 is not only thematic for an investigate-themed rogue, but it's also incredibly synergistic with her ability. Trish's ability is Reaction. After you discover 1 or more clues at a location with an enemy, either discover 1 additional clue at that location, or automatically evade that enemy. Limit once per round. Again, comparing to Finn, who gets a free action each turn for evasion. Finn's ability is easier to use, obviously, but Trish's has a much higher ceiling. It really shines in multiplayer, where you can grab extra clues while your fighters are engaged with enemies, or you can evade an enemy for a teammate, but you can still use this ability while playing solo. Working a hunch now has the bonus of an automatic evasion. You can teleport from a location away to evade something or add clues. You can gain 3 clues from this card and her ability, or use Connect the Dots to evade additional enemies you aren't even near. The worst case scenario is trying to use your ability while engaged with an enemy, but it's really not that bad. If you evade the enemy first, you can use her ability to grab multiple clues. And with Narrow Escape and the new Obfuscation card, you can ignore attacks of opportunity. The crowning jewels are Lola Santiago and the new Cryptographic Cipher. Scarborough's Elder Sign gets an A- from me. It is +2. If this is an investigation, you may choose any revealed location. You are now investigating as if you are at that location instead. +2 gives her the ability to pass investigate tests for 6 shroud locations, which lets you grab clues from almost every location. Plus, it works so well with her ability, giving you a free evade or clue if there's an enemy at that location. A small bonus is that +2 will let her pass many willpower checks. Trish's signature card gets a C+ from me. It is In the Shadows. Level 0 event with 2 agility icons and 2 wild icons. Fast to play after your turn begins. Disengage from each enemy engaged with you. Until the end of the round, enemies cannot engage you and you cannot deal damage to enemies. This feels like a remixed On the Lam for me. It's pretty good for a crucial turn, and having potentially 4 symbols for evasion helps with the shadow agents. I give her economy an A+ grade. You have ample options for card search, free actions, and resource generation. Mr. Rook, until he gets nerfed, is right there for her. You have Crack the Case, Faustian Bargain, Lone Wolf, Investments, Burning the Midnight Oil, Sneak By, and more for resource generation. Free actions come from Leo De Luca, Quick Thinking, and later Lola Santiago and Haste. If you want card draw, you can go with Preposterous Sketches and Pickpocketing, a star card since you can evade from other locations with tricks, on top of manual dexterity and perception. All of this allows her deck building to go in a few different ways. Clue Gathering gets an S grade. Trish has all the great level 0 Seeker Clue Gathering cards, and the great level 1+ rogue cards for the same purpose, namely lockpicks from both levels, Lola Santiago, and if you're feeling extra spicy, the Skeleton Key, and both pitch in with Clue Gathering events. Enemy Management is a B+. Trish is great with evasion, and thanks to her ability, many cards add to the ability to evade. If you want, you can add damage to her, but mostly in the form of tricks. I've Got a Plan is always a valid plan for a clutch moment, and you now have a level 2 version to consider. Backstab is a slightly more simplified version of the same thing. Grading really depends on how valuable you think being incredible with evading but rarely killing is. Low willpower is going to hurt Trish's encounter card defense. I'm advocating for Dr. William T. Mailson because he can prevent willpower checking encounter cards, and Trish can just evade enemies and do well when her intellect and agility are tested. You Handle This One is also a decent option, as is Logical Reasoning. Guts probably isn't useful enough. You could maybe run Curiosity, although I don't always get value from that card outside of Harvey and Mandy. C grade. Skill testing is pretty good for Trish. She has a decent amount of options to pump her stats, skills cards or otherwise. I think she's a good candidate for tarot cards, either the Seeker one for extra intellect or the Moon for extra agility. Lola Santiago gives her +1 in both her main stats. Streetwise could be interesting, probably the level 8 after Taboo, or Hyper Awareness if you just want a level 0 version. You can also try Well Connected with a big money build, or go nuts and buy a Key of Ys. B grade. Trish is average on tankiness. Her allies aren't especially tanky, although you can go through a lot of cheap Seeker ones. Being able to evade helps, and it's realistic to not worry about physical damage as much. She doesn't have access to Great Horror Soak, and low willpower will punish that in most scenarios. Logical Reasoning makes for a good horror healing option, and if you don't like Taboo, there's always a Key of Ys. C grade. Support-wise, you can shortcut people, Faustian Bargain, Crack the Case, Logical Reasoning, maybe pitch in a Eureka for a friend's test. She can also play Decoy from a location away. I'm not sure if Decoy makes it into Decklists just because you can evade easier with other tricks or high agility. Mainly because of her ability in Faustian Bargain, I'm giving a B+ grade. Shadow Agents has 3 fight, 3 health, and 5 evade. Prey, Trish only. Hunter, while Shadow Agents is engaged with you, you cannot discover clues except by investigating. Forced, after Shadow Agents is evaded, discard it. It does 2 damage. 5 evade is no joke, and you can't cheese them with working a hunch or other free clue grabbing cards. You'll either need some stat help or take the attack of opportunity hit in order to grab a clue. I'd imagine most of the time you're taking at least 2 damage from them. If you don't have skill help, clues to gather, and especially in harder difficulties, these can become a very big problem. C+. Like I said before, I think Trish can go in a few different directions in deck building. I could see a high stat build, a skill card low cost build, a rich rogue build, and of course these aren't mutually exclusive. My first deck list is the skill card variant. With mostly cheap cards, hopefully you don't need as much economy. I like Daredevil into quick thinking, extra actions are great, plus it thins out your deck. The stats deck needs some XP to really see it take off. Tarot cards and of course Lola Santiago are good buys here. The big money build has a lot of options for resources, and Well Connected can really help. I'd run Lone Wolf even in 3-player games. Why play Trish? Great stats, rogue tricks, and solid Seeker choices makes for a strong Investigator, at least on the proactive side of things. If you like playing as Finn, you'll be right at home. I'm Big Stupid Grin. Hope you have a good time here, and until next time, have a good one.